They were in the middle of a routine reset. 5 seals, 1 base, no noise, no ceremony, until a little girl walked straight onto a secure compound alone and pointed at the inside of a man's arm. She didn't ask for help, didn't explain, just said 7 words. My mom had that same tattoo. And every man froze, because that tattoo wasn't public. It wasn't in records. It belonged to a team that no longer existed and to a woman they all believed had died years ago. But if her daughter was standing here now, it meant one thing. She hadn't died. She'd been erased. Before we show you what happened when the men who ghosted her came to finish the job and how 5 SEALs quietly broke protocol to help a ghost fight back, tap like, hit subscribe to Military Stories, and turn on the bell icon, because this time she didn't need rescuing. She just needed witnesses. The wind off the water smelled like rust and concrete. That was all the compound offered. Salt air, old steel, and silence. No plaques, no flags. Just a hardened strip of coast where Tier 1 units rotated through resets when nobody wanted to admit they needed one. The 5-man SEAL team had been there for 12 days. Nobody said it aloud, but they were starting to sink again. Wake, drill, recover, drill again. No war stories, no bar nights, no room for sentiment, just a rhythm. Clean, controlled. Chief Petty Officer Dempsey moved first, always. If he didn't speak, they moved. If he spoke, they moved faster. They were staged outside the annex now. Light wind, gravel under boots, gear bags lined near the post. Petty Officer Grant Wells had stripped his overlayer to tighten his sling wrap. As he rolled his sleeve down, a mark on the inside of his forearm caught the light. A simple tattoo, small, circular, split clean down the center by a vertical slash. No one commented, but 3 sets of eyes drifted toward. Wells caught them watching and grunted. "What? You don't usually show that," Ken muttered. "Didn't mean to." Wells adjusted the cuff. "Forgot I still had it." "Hard to forget," said Dempsey. Nobody laughed. Nobody needed to. It wasn't a unit tat. It didn't come from command. You couldn't find it in any official log. That mark belonged to 6 people in the world. 5 of them were standing in that gravel pullout. They'd gotten it after passing through a joint selection program so classified it didn't have a proper name. Just a year, a fire team, and a woman who led them. They never used her name anymore. Didn't need to. "Ma'am," Ken might say. "Chief," Wells might say, just once, and only if the conversation bent toward memory. She was the reason they were still alive. It had happened during a denied territory insertion. Bad intel, no exfil. She stayed behind, bought them time, rerouted their extraction, and then she was gone. No body, no beacon, no return. Just a 2-line report that came back redacted and final. KIA, presumed unrecoverable. Dempsey didn't speak about that mission, not even in debrief. Nobody did. When they got reassigned months later, the bond had gone unspoken, but permanent. That tattoo wasn't pride, it was survival. Dempsey glanced down at his own arm, hidden beneath long sleeves. Same spot marked. "Still have it?" Wells asked quietly. "Always," Dempsey said. He scanned the horizon. The perimeter was still quiet, MPs rotating, no unusual movement at the gate. And then, out of the shimmer near the service road, just beyond the annex fencing, a figure appeared. Small, steady. A girl, maybe 9 or 10, wearing a windbreaker zipped too high, hair tied back unevenly, shoes scuffed nearly white at the toes. No base pass, no vehicle, no panic, just walking straight for them. Dempsey didn't move. He just said one thing, quiet. Nobody outside this circle should ever recognize that mark. Behind him, the gravel shifted. Callan straightened. Wells turned. The girl kept walking, alone, deliberate, eyes locked forward, and everything in Dempsey's gut tightened. She crossed the open ground like she belonged there. No badge, no escort, no hesitation, just steady footfalls over the gravel shoulder, arms at her sides, sleeves swallowing her wrists. Her shoes slapped the ground with a dull rhythm, too quiet for running, too even for wandering. She didn't glance at the fences, didn't look at the MPs by the gate. She walked like she knew where she was supposed to be. Dempsey didn't move, The others didn't speak. Ken blinked first. "We've got a kid." Wells stood up straighter. "Where the hell did she come from?" "Eyes on," Dempsey said. She came closer, 10 yards out now. Dark ponytail, rough-cut bangs, the kind of scrapes on her knees that came from bus stations and long walks. She looked at none of them until she did. Her eyes went straight to Dempsey's forearm, right where his sleeve was still pushed halfway up from earlier. He hadn't rolled it back down. The tattoo, a circle swept by a clean vertical line. The girl pointed right at it, then said calmly with no hesitation at all, "My mom had that same tattoo." Everything stopped. No one reached for a weapon. No one called for security. But 5 SEALs, hardened, reassembled, twice bonded through fire and silence, went dead still. Even the wind seemed to pause, because that mark wasn't supposed to exist anywhere else. Not in public, not in ink shops, not in any place a child should have ever seen. Wells exhaled slowly through his nose. Callan looked like he'd forgotten how to stand. Dempsey's jaw didn't tighten, but his hand dropped casually to cover the ink. Too late. The girl stepped 1 pace closer, then dug into a coat pocket and pulled out a weather-worn object. It looked like a folded photo, edges curled, creases smoothed 100 times over. She unfolded it and held it up. A picture, faded, overexposed in the top corner. A woman crouching beside a toddler, windbreaker, ball cap, shadow covering part of her face. But on her forearm, half visible as her sleeve rolled up, was the same mark. Not similar, the exact same mark. "See?" the girl said softly. No drama, no smile, like she'd be waiting to say it for a long time. Wills's voice finally came tight. "What's your mom's name?" The girl didn't blink. "You already know it," she said, then added even quieter, "but you're not supposed to say it first." She sat on a low concrete barrier behind the annex while the team spread out just far enough to form a loose perimeter. No one raised alarms. No one made a call. Not yet. The air was thick with unspoken protocol, the kind that lived between trust and command. Dempsey crouched a few feet away, not directly in front of her. Angled, operator posture, not interrogating, listening. "What's your name?" he asked. "Ellie," she said, like someone used to answering questions carefully. "You said your mom has the same tattoo." She nodded. "How?" Ellie didn't look at him. Her gaze stayed on the fence, the gate, the open road beyond. Then softly, "She told me what it meant." Wells stepped closer. "Your mom told you what that mark is?" She said, "It's a promise that if I ever got scared and saw that tattoo on someone else, I'd be safe." Callan exchanged a look with Dempsey. "When did she tell you that?" Dempsey asked. Ellie's reply was flat. "When they came to the house." That changed the air. Dempsey's tone dropped. "Who?" "They didn't say their names." Her voice stayed steady, like she'd repeated the story a few times already. "They knocked, asked if she was someone else, a name I didn't know. They said she was needed again, that it was important. She said no." Wells stepped in. "What happened next?" "They waited outside for a long time. Then they left." "She tell you what to do?" Ellie nodded. "She gave me a paper with a picture. She said, if they ever come back and I'm not there, you find the ones who know the mark." Ken's voice was rough. "And you found us." She nodded again. "She said to take a bus, not ask anyone for help, and not talk to police. Just get here." She showed me the gate on a map, said if I found this base and showed the mark, someone would understand. Dempsey stared at the horizon, jaw tight. "When was this?" 3 days ago, Ellie said. "She hasn't come back yet." A beat passed. The kind of silence that only comes when truth lands too hard to move around. "She said if they catch her," Ellie whispered, "I'll never see her again." Nobody spoke after that, because they'd all read enough redacted reports to know what that meant. And this time, it wasn't just a rumor in a briefing room. This time, the ghost had a daughter. They didn't huddle. SEALs don't huddle. They realign. Dempsey motioned with 2 fingers, barely visible, and the team moved. Not far. Just enough to create space around Ellie without closing her in. Wells and Callan drifted wide. The youngest, Morales, held back by the fence line, watching for any eye that didn't belong. Dempsey stayed close, kneeling low, voice just above a whisper. "That mark," he said. "Your mom ever say what it was for?" Ellie nodded slowly. "She said it meant she trusted someone enough to be carried by them, or to carry them."
that it only belonged to people who would never leave someone behind. Wells exhaled once, sharp, like a lung punch he hadn't braced for. Dempsey looked up at him. No words exchanged, just memory. Then Dempsey stood, turned to face the others. "Check perimeter," he said quietly. "Assume this wasn't random." They didn't question it. They never did. When he turned back to Ellie, he crouched again, lower this time. Not because she was a child, but because she was carrying classified memory in the shape of a story no one else was supposed to tell. "That tattoo," he said. "It was from a team, not a unit. A team inside a team. 6 of us, 1 leader. We ran black inserts for over 2 years. No leash, no paper trail, just deep sights, hard pulls, and full deniability." Ellie looked up at him. "You said 6. You're only 5. Dempsey nodded. "The 6th was your mother. She said she saved you." Dempsey didn't blink. "She did." Callan walked up, rubbing the back of his neck like he was trying to keep emotion from reaching his shoulders. "She's the reason we're still here," he muttered. Dragged Wells out with 2 vertebrae blown and half a radio. Blew the exit behind her and bought us time to extract. "She didn't come back," Ellie said. "No," Dempsey said. "She didn't." He stood fully now. The others gathered without needing to be called. "The mission went off-grid," Wells said. "Intel failed. Comms broke. Command gave us 4 minutes to make a call. We had no visual on her position. We were forced out. She stayed behind to block pursuit," Callan added. "Recovery was sealed in 24 hours. Dempsey finished. Official line was unrecoverable. Report was 2 sentences long. Her name redacted from the AAR. "She told me," Ellie said, voice low. "They made her vanish." The wind kicked dust off the gravel. Wells looked at Dempsey, then back at the girl. "If she's alive, this isn't about bringing her home." Ken nodded once. "This is about making sure she stays erased." "No," Dempsey said. His voice had changed, lower, slower. "This is about who ordered it."
Dempsey didn't waste time. He turned and walked back toward the annex utility post, unclipping the comm handset without looking down. The others watched him, waited. "Base Ops, this is Annex 2, he said calmly. "Go ahead, Annex 2. Unverified miner at our location. Civilian close holding for accountability. Stand by while we verify status." "Copy that. Do you require MP detachment?" Dempsey didn't hesitate. "Negative. We'll notify if escalation is needed. Maintain current watch." "Understood. Logging now." He clicked the radio off and looked over his shoulder. Wells was already at Ellie's side, crouching, not to comfort, but to narrow the gap. "You said your mom told you what to do if something happened?" Wells said. Ellie nodded. "Did she give you a phrase?" The girl looked up, hesitated, then said, "Circle split, 1 cut, no leash." The air stilled again. Dempsey's spine locked. Callan's eyes widened, then slowly dropped to the ground like he just heard a name he wasn't supposed to remember. That phrase hadn't been said in years. It was a fallback code their leader used during pre-mission briefings. Not for command, for them. Dempsey stepped back toward the group, his voice low now, tight. "That's not coincidence." "Nope," Wells said. "She's not making this up." "Nope." Callan swallowed. "So what do we do?" Dempsey looked down at Ellie. Her legs didn't swing. Her hands were still. She hadn't flinched once since arriving. He crouched just low enough to meet her eyes. "Where's your mom right now?" "She said she'd be near the port," Ellie answered, "in a truck. She couldn't move much. She's waiting, but she said she wouldn't wait long." Dempsey nodded once. Wells looked at him. "If we move on this, we break chain," Callan finished. Dempsey stood fully, looked over his team. "Let me make this clear," he said. "If she's alive and continuity is moving again, this isn't about loyalty. This is about cleaning up something that should have never been buried." Wells shifted his stance. "We're stepping outside the lines." Dempsey stared at him. "We stepped outside the lines the moment she pointed at that tattoo." No one argued. No one hesitated. They moved as one. Gear loaded, calm silent, boots hitting gravel without a single word spoken too loud. Just 5 men and 1 girl headed toward the one person they were never supposed to see again. And for the first time in years, they weren't following orders. They were correcting history. The staging lot near the port was quiet at this hour.
Rows of long-haul containers sat stacked like forgotten memories. No movement, no chatter, just the creak of metal when the wind shifted. Dempsey's team moved in low-profile formation, civilian layers over gear. Convoy vehicle left 2 blocks behind. Ellie walked beside Wells, her steps exact, like she'd been taught how to move without hesitation, but not too fast. They saw the truck before she did, unmarked, dusty, parked against the loading dock edge, nose angled toward the far exit lane, engine off, window cracked. The woman in the driver's seat wore a contractor's windbreaker, cap pulled low, hand resting on the steering wheel like she was still mid-shift. She didn't look up until she did. Her eyes moved once across the open lot, then locked on them. No reaction, no alarm, just a pause, a calculation, then her voice flat. "You shouldn't have brought her here." Wells stopped cold. Ellie broke away before anyone could stop her, jogging forward. But the woman didn't open her arms, didn't flinch. She simply stepped out of the cab. 5'8", light frame, worn boots, every motion stripped of excess, like even her fatigue had learned not to waste energy. And then Dempsey saw it. Her sleeve rode up as she reached for Ellie. There it was, faded, same size, same shape. A circle split down the center by a single vertical slash. His throat clenched. Behind him, Morales whispered, "No way!" But she didn't smile, didn't ask for forgiveness, didn't explain. She looked at the team like she already knew the odds, the angles, the extraction windows. "I told her if she saw the mark," the woman said, "she should find the ones who would remember." "She did," Dempsey said quietly, "and we do." The woman touched Ellie's shoulder once lightly, then pulled her close just for a second. "She's smarter than me," she said, didn't flinch once. Callan finally stepped forward. "Chief, is it really?" She cut him off with a glance. Not angry, not warm, just iron. "I don't know what you think this is," she said, "but I didn't come here to get rescued." Wells asked, "Then why?" "Because my lungs are shutting down," she said, "and I can't keep moving. They're close." Dempsey's voice was gravel. "You led them here?" She nodded. "On purpose," she said. The trucks hadn't moved. The dock road was still quiet. That silence should have felt safe. It didn't. Callan picked up on it first. His head snapped slightly left. Then he stepped half a pace behind a shipping crate like it was casual. 2 men, dark jackets, clean shoes, no weapons visible. They walked like they were supposed to be there. Not fast, not slow, just confident. Dempsey saw them too. He didn't signal, he didn't have to. The squad shifted in unison, shoulders squaring subtly, eyes alert, hands low. No aggression, not yet. The woman didn't turn. She felt them coming before anyone else did. The taller one spoke first. "Ma'am," he said, "you've been flagged for relocation." His voice was polite, crisp, paperwork precision. She didn't move, didn't flinch. "I'm not under active commission," she said flatly. "You're still under continuity clause jurisdiction." "I didn't sign a reactivation." "You didn't have to." Behind her, Ellie's hand found Wells's sleeve. The second man stepped closer. "This doesn't have to be difficult. You'll be treated with respect. We understand the service you provided, but you've been exposed. We're here to secure you before that becomes a problem." She finally turned, not quickly, not defensively. She turned like she'd been waiting for this moment. The man's voice softened. "Let's not do this in front of your child." That was his mistake. She moved 1 step sideways into the truck's blind zone. Her elbow clipped the doorframe just hard enough to pop it outward, striking the taller man in the ribs. He folded forward instinctively, air knocked out. She used his momentum to pivot, grabbed his wrist, dropped her weight, and sent him sprawling. The second reached for his belt. Wrong choice. She closed the gap, jammed her shoulder into his chest, and rolled with him across the gravel. The sound of the zip tie snapping was soft, but the snap of his knee hitting the concrete wasn't. 4 seconds. That's how long it took. Not one punch thrown, not one curse spoken. By the time she stood, both men were down, conscious, breathing, but subdued. One disarmed, one restrained with his own cuffs. Dempsey hadn't moved. He didn't need to. Wells had already stepped in, casually turning a crate toward the walkway to block visual lines. Morales was cutting the closest lock camera feed with a line override. Callan was keeping Ellie close, hands over her shoulders like this was just another Tuesday. The woman reached down, took one item from the man's jacket, a phone, secure issue, still unlocked. She held it up. "This is your chain of custody," she said, then tossed it to Dempsey. He caught it, read the screen once. Wells stepped forward quietly. "You just declared war." She didn't look at him. "No, I just ended it."
The admin liaison office sat above the vehicle lot in the glass-paneled corner unit, detached from command but never far from the decisions that got people buried. Briggs was already standing when they entered. Civilian, crisp shirt, clearance badge, too fresh to be earned the hard way. He didn't ask who they were. He saw the woman first and paused, then smiled like that would fix it. "Operator R." She raised one finger. Briggs stopped talking. Dempsey closed the door behind them. Wells moved to the side wall, leaned just enough to suggest this wouldn't take long. The woman placed the secured continuity phone on Briggs's desk, still unlocked, still live. "This is your retrieval chain," she said. Briggs didn't touch it. "Ma'am, I'm not cleared to—" She stepped forward once. "Then go get someone who is." Briggs glanced at Dempsey. "Chief, I assume you're aware this is highly irregular." "She's not in your custody," Dempsey said. "She's not under recall, and we have proof your retrieval team bypassed legal command protocol using a flag dodge assignment." Briggs tried again. "She's under internal review by continuity. I don't make those decisions." Wells finally spoke calmly. "She is not property," he said. "She is not inventory. She is a former active operator with a dependent minor, a medical condition flagged in prior deployment records, and an internal mark that binds her to a fire team protected under compartmental exception." Briggs's smile started to die. "She went ghost because she was ordered to," Wells continued. "Now she's being hunted because she didn't stay dead long enough to match the paperwork." The woman said nothing. She just placed one more thing on the desk. A laminated card, black border, old damage, one word embossed on the surface: Obsidian. Briggs swallowed. Callan looked at Wells. "What's Obsidian?" "Legacy project class," Wells murmured. "Buried. Deniable. Operators can't be reactivated without reactivating the entire unit." Dempsey stepped closer. "You try to bring her in, but you bring us all in. That's the rule." Briggs's hands went still. "I'm not trying to bring anyone in," he said quietly. "I'm trying to keep this office from being dragged into something I was never briefed on." "Then close it," the woman said. Briggs looked down at the phone, then at her daughter, then back at her. Finally, his voice came small. "This file was never supposed to reopen." She leaned forward just slightly, no smile. "Then close it properly, and make sure my daughter never has to run again." It wasn't a medal. It wasn't a reinstatement. It was something better. It was a file transfer. 2 hours after Briggs logged the direction, the mother's status was rerouted into a protected category under Article 8 of Legacy Operator Shielding. Not retirement, not reactivation, just a formal acknowledgement that she existed and that continuity no longer had clearance to touch her. The memo was thin, 1 page, no fanfare, but it changed everything. Her new classification read, Obsidian Retained, Non-Operational Custodial Exception. It was the kind of designation that meant she couldn't be reassigned, reflagged, or removed without the direct signature of someone who no longer worked in the building. And even if they wanted to find her again, they'd be locked out by the override key to her original mission file. The SEALs didn't ask for thanks. They didn't stand behind the decision like heroes. They just made sure it happened, fast, quiet, and complete. She was moved into transitional contractor housing off the southern perimeter, 2-bedroom unit, secured entry, private medical routing. It wasn't permanent, but it was safe. The girl, Ellie, was listed as a dependent of record under temporary witness protection with enrollment priority flagged at the base school district. A legal alias was issued for both of them, sanitized through internal HR systems so they'd blend, not vanish. No more late-night runs, no more packing in the dark, no more coded goodbyes. The mother signed one document before she left the admin wing. It wasn't a confession, it was a boundary. "I will disappear again," she said to Dempsey, but this time not as a fugitive, this time as a mother who chose the exit. He nodded once, that was all. Later, in the courtyard of the transitional housing unit, Ellie sat beside her mother on a bench. Quiet, no movement, just the two of them watching the sun drop behind the outer fencing. "Are you going to leave again?" Ellie asked. Her mother didn't answer right away. Then she said, "Only from them, not from you." Dempsey showed up just once that evening, plain clothes, no comms. He handed her a small card, burned edges, folded in half. No name, just a number. "If anything moves again," he said, "this is direct." She took it, didn't say thank you, just nodded. "I won't need it," she said. And for the first time since the day they lost her, Dempsey believed her, because this time she wasn't running. She was reappearing on her own terms. The record was updated 3 days later, not loudly, not publicly, just a memo dropped into a protected chain, cleared for one access group, then buried beneath 5 levels of internal routing. It didn't show up in any daily reports, no system flagged it as urgent, but it changed the classification. It listed her name, redacted on the surface, visible only through keyed clearance, and gave her a new status: operator protected, retained, obsidian class, retrieval clause nullified, chain of custody closed, dependent 1, minor secured. The words weren't bolded, there was no stamp, but Dempsey printed it anyway, folded it twice, slipped it into the back of his kit locker because it meant something. Because now, if anyone ever tried again, if anyone reopened her file, spun it wrong, or pretended she'd never lived, there would be a record. Weeks passed. The team stayed on site through the end of their rotation. No changes to their official tasks, no write-ups, no command briefings, just 5 men who knew they'd made a call and didn't regret it. One afternoon, they were back on the annex range. Light drills, low wind. Callan was adjusting targets when he spotted her at the edge of the vehicle lot. Same cap, same posture. She didn't approach, didn't linger, just stood there beside her daughter, watching. And when Dempsey turned, their eyes met for half a second. She nodded once. No wave, no smile, just a quiet signal between people who understood what it meant to walk out of your own death and take back what was stolen. Wells stepped up beside Dempsey, adjusting the strap on his sling. "So she wasn't a ghost," he said. Dempsey didn't look away. "Nope," he said. "She was the one they couldn't control." If you were one of those SEALs, would you have backed her, even if it meant stepping outside the chain of command? Should any classified program have the power to erase someone who gave everything for the mission? And what do you think? Was her final decision freedom or just the only way to survive? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read everyone. If this story hits you, do me a favor. Tap that like button, subscribe to Military Stories, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next one. Share this video with someone who knows what loyalty really costs. And since our other stories are already on your screen now, pick one and watch it next. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time with a brand new story.